Grandfather, the person you wish to see is here.
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the current leader of the Temple of Silence. I know why you are here, and I thank you for your patience. Bring him out.
Professor!
Cyrus, are you okay?
Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus is of great importance to us. We had to find a way to bring him back to us. Cyrus owes me his life, and to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude. I let him go a long time ago, but now, the time has come to demand payment.
I wanted to end my feud with this old bag of bones before you caught up with me. But you got here so quickly. Just leave, Sino. This is a matter between us two old men. You're all too young to get involved.
So that's why you didn't want to report the letter. You'd made up your mind to come here from the beginning. You only left in such a hurry to try and throw us off your trail.
Some things in life catch up with you, no matter what you do. You shouldn't have come. That alone brought the others.
Sino didn't make us do anything. We came here for the same reason he did. To rescue you. We'd appreciate you telling us the truth. Otherwise, it seems a little unfair on everyone who had to stay behind.
My secrets are secret for good reason. Bringing them to light can only lead to misfortune.
You're afraid, aren't you? You can't bring yourself to speak of your past deeds to the students you nurtured as if they were your own children. You recognized our emblem because for many years you lived among us. Indeed, you all but became one of us. You knew as soon as you saw the letter that we, not Uraka, were the ones speaking to you. It threatened you only because you know what you did. Your own guilt convicted you. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your learning with us, and joined us in our mission to revive the might of Hermanubis, to bring new hope, new opportunity. But then you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past contributions. And then you left, taking with you Hermanubis' might and the wielder of his power. We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You really know how to hold a grudge.
Hermanubis' might? And the wielder of his power?
Does he mean you?
Professor, anything to say?
The moon is right. I came here once before. He rescued me from the brink of death once, many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was a scholar, he invited me to come here and revive the might of Hermanubis together. It was a great, daring plan, and one shrouded in secrecy. The Temple of Silence had been bereft of Hermanubis for too long. The strength of its faith and its warriors were waning. Bamoon proposed that we implant bar fragments, shards of Hermanubis, into the bodies of suitable vessels. If the experiment was successful, the spirit of Hermanubis would then dwell within the vessel. Many believers volunteered themselves for the experiment. But we soon discovered that the bodies of grown adults could not withstand Hermanubis' power. In the end, Bamoon offered his own adoptive grandson. One other child was identified as a suitable vessel, and his parents agreed to release him into our custody in exchange for a small fortune. These two children were our only hope for hosting Hermanubis' power.
For many years, the Temple of Silence had been in possession of 2 Ba fragments from Hermanubis. As remnants of his raw power, they were exceedingly rare treasures. The test subjects were sent into a room that had been prepared for the ceremony, and instructed to approach the Ba fragments, whose power had been amplified. If, after some time, this power did not repel them, this would mean that they were suitable vessels. The original plan was for a 3-stage experiment: resonance, implantation, and recovery and observation. The resonance stage went quite smoothly for both candidates. As the 2nd stage began, I realized a decision had to be made. Should we implant the fragments one at a time? This would allow us to monitor the results after the first round and adjust our plan accordingly. Or alternatively, we could implant each fragment in a different vessel at the same time and compare their effects. But as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed with a light we had never seen before. I knew that if they were not implanted right away, they would disintegrate and be gone from the world for good. Our 2 vessels had both displayed great promise by successfully resonating with the fragments. Under the circumstances, the thought of implanting both fragments into the same vessel seemed out of the question. To preserve our faith and our power, we implanted each of them with a single fragment.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment and left, taking one of the children with me.
In recognition of your past contributions, I chose not to send someone to hunt down and kill you both. Your lives were spared, but I have paid a great price for your betrayal ever since. I have always wanted to see you, Sino. Losing you and your Ba fragment dealt us a devastating blow. We've been in decline ever since you left.
I see. So that's how I gained my power.
Look, in essence, I borrowed your Ba fragment for a decade or so. And now you are seeking justice. If you want to take my life, then so be it. I'm an old man now anyway. But you cannot lift a finger against Sino. He is the General Mahamatra. Your actions would be seen as a declaration of war against the Akademiya.
I'm sure you don't remember anymore, dear Sino, but you've met us all before. You were so young then, when we all gathered around and celebrated the revival of our Lord. You and he, Sethos, you were our final hope.
You'd like me to return my power?
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now, it is time to reclaim it.
That power is not yours to reclaim. Sino was chosen by the gods. You cannot take what they have bestowed.
You are wrong. Sino was chosen, but he was not the only one. My child, Sethos, has the same gift as he.
So those are your terms for freeing the professor?
Despise me all you want. My sins are my own. The Temple of Silence is an innocent party. It is because of my foolishness all those years ago that the Temple's glory has waned. And now I must take responsibility for the decision I made back then.
So what you're saying is, the power of one Ba fragment is not enough? You're asking me to return the one in my possession, so it can be implanted in him instead?
Divine power causes great suffering to those who wield it. How do you know that Sethos would be able to withstand it?
He is no longer a small child. But regardless, this burden is ours to bear, and your objections mean little given that you turned your back on us long ago.
Both my heart and mind are telling me that what you are proposing is a terrible idea. However...
Don't listen to him, Sino. That power is no more yours to give than it is his to take. You have to understand.
I know. But if this is a question of your freedom versus a fragment of power, then... there is nothing to debate.
Sorry to interrupt, but in my view, there are a number of contentions here that still need addressing. Say that Sino refuses to return his power, and you also refuse to release Cyrus. Then, we are at an impasse. I find it hard to believe that you went to all this effort without planning for that possibility. You're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest. Well, my stance is, put the rest of your cards on the table. Then we can have a discussion.
Wait, those ears... So, we have a descendant of the Valukashuna in our midst. Splendid! Fate smiles upon us after all. Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day we'll...
Why is he coughing so much? He looks like he's in really bad shape.
Pamoon, you...
Take our leader back to his room.
Sethos... you must...
Grandfather, I know what you wish to say. Leave this in my hands. I don't like to drag out conversations, so I'll just cut to the chase. Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago, the plan would most likely have been a success. The wisdom of Hermanubis would have been ours. Still, it's no use talking about what-ifs. We cannot change the past. I'm not like my grandfather. The Temple of Silence has a grand legacy and a sacred duty to fulfill. So it's somewhat inevitable for the leader to have an inflated sense of self. But I see things a little differently. I don't believe the temple has the same stature that it once did. Time has worn away at its prestige and changed things almost beyond recognition. So I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave, except for Cyrus. My grandfather gave him his chance once, and now I'm giving the rest of you yours.
You have courage and wise judgment, kid. Reminds me a lot of Pamoon in his younger years. I truly wish that the temple would take an objective look at the Akademiya of today. You've been to the city yourself. I'm sure you've seen that much has changed for the better, and things will only continue to improve. Why not consider cooperating with the Akademiya once more?
If you hadn't betrayed my grandfather, I might well be open to persuasion. But it's a bit too late for that now, Cyrus.
Tainari made a good point earlier. He said there has to be more to your plan than this, and I agree. All you and Ba Moon are after is the Ba fragment. The professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for him out of a sense of guilt. I am the one who has a choice to make. And that's how it was always going to be. Ultimately, you want to trade the Ba fragment for the professor, correct?
I'm glad to see you're giving it some serious consideration.
I won't forsake my professor, nor do I intend to run from a problem that I must face sooner or later. Give me one night to make my decision.
That works. Then I'll be waiting to hear your verdict, Sino. Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things he wants to say to Cyrus, so I'll be escorting him back now.